Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you a book review on a book that I recently read called Educated. This is not a typical video that I've done in the past, but I've been reading a lot lately and I've been really enjoying it. And I thought that even though it's not really like in my niche of YouTube, I guess, of like what we've been trying to do, I would really enjoy creating these. I was telling Nestor about like the theme of this book and kind of like what I've been getting from it, and I was like, gosh, this would be so much fun to film a video about. So I thought that I would just throw it out here and see how you guys like it and see how it does. So so that's what I'm going to be doing today. So let's get started. So the book is called Educated and it's by Tara Westover. And this format that I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be sharing with you the summary of the book. I'm not going to be giving away any spoilers or anything like that, but just a short summary of the book. I'll be going through some of like the themes or some of like the main points that I've gotten from the book, and then also just like generally what I thought about it. So what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, and kind of sharing with you that perspective also. I read it through my library system, so that's how I've been reading a lot of my books lately, is I've been able to do it through my library system. So I've been reading most of my books for free, which has been really nice. So I listened to this one on an audiobook, and then also through, I read it, I think they had like a library, an ebook edition. So that's how I've been reading all my books, like through audiobook and then also through like the library or like through the ebooks that they have. This book is about a girl, Tara, and she lives out in the mountains in Idaho. She lives with her family. I think she has like 5 brothers and sisters. She's the youngest of them all. And she lives with her parents in like the middle of nowhere, Idaho, basically. So both of her sets of grandparents live nearby, and her parents are Mormon. And they kind of emphasize that the book isn't about being Mormon, but it's about a lot of the struggles that she has with her parents. She experiences abuse from various people in her life, and different types of abuse too, especially like physical abuse and verbal abuse, kind of like neglect, I would almost say in some sense, that her father is mentally ill. And so that was something that my supervisor had actually told me about this book when I was still an intern. And not so much as like a counseling type of book, but just like getting to know like what bipolar disorder is like, and really just like how I think the book is a lot about how her family is influenced by her dad and her dad's mental illness, and just like the different dynamics that she has in her family, and kind of like balancing her relationship with her brother specifically, and like how that affects the different dynamics in her family, and just like the different people in her family are just really affected by all of it. So that is basically what the book is about. She's born, most of her siblings are born without birth certificates, and she is born, so she ends up getting her birth certificate when she's 9 years old, and then she doesn't go to school like ever. Like, so they say that she's homeschooled. That's how her parents kind of get through it. But so she doesn't have a birth certificate for a while. She's not really like a documented citizen. She's finally eventually able to get a birth certificate, and then she never goes to she's never in elementary school. She never goes to high school, but she ends up going through, I guess you know this, she ends up going and getting her setting for the ACT. She doesn't get the GRE or anything like that, but she just goes straight to BYU. She goes to BYU, and she's really smart, so she ends up getting accepted into a program at Oxford, and then just getting her her graduate degrees. She ends up getting her doctorate degree, and just really, really smart, and just kind of talks about the struggles that she went through in getting all of that education, and kind of the back and forth from her family, and really especially her parents, and trying to balance this new view that she has of herself of this educated and intelligent woman versus the girl that she was growing up, who supposedly didn't know anything and was really at her parents' at her parents' mercy, I guess. So that's a general synopsis of what the book is about. Some general themes that I found in the book was abuse and just overcoming trauma. So there was a lot of trauma in the book that she experienced, I could tell, just in a variety of ways, through injuries related to work, domestic violence from family members and things like that. So there's a lot of trauma. And another theme is really just about overcoming that trauma, and really overcoming it and becoming your own person, really. I think she had a lot of difficulties figuring out and trying to decipher like, is this like, who is this new person that I'm like discovering, and that these people are telling me that I'm like this great person, versus this older version that I have of myself who's like weak and doesn't really know what she's doing. Yeah, so really just like kind of balancing between that, like what this view that she has of herself in the present, and that she's like trying to, not really that she has of herself, honestly, like what these other people have of her, like this great person that she is, and she's like super smart and as like can do anything basically, versus like what these people think of her from her childhood, that she like can't do much. And I thought this was really interesting too. She had this this person when she was at BYU was like, if you have dreams of becoming anything other than a mother, then like you're crazy, or like something's wrong with you or something like that. And poor her, she's like, wait, I was thinking about like going to law school or something. Like she was thinking about going to law school, and so it was really sad to say, like, for somebody to kind of be like putting her down for her dreams. She wasn't explicitly saying anything that was like her dream or anything like that, but it was just really sad to say like, oh, like because you're a woman, like you shouldn't have dreams of doing these things. It just gave a lot to think about too. So I really like that part of the book. And so yeah, this is kind of like leading in, I guess, into my like the things that I liked about it and things I didn't like about it. I don't really have anything that I didn't like about it, I would say. It wasn't like slow paced, like it was really well written. I didn't get bored at all of it. Sometimes I'll get bored of books and like slow down in it and stop reading it, but this one, it like kept me engaged the whole time. So as far as writing goes, I think it was really well written. I mean, I feel like I'm not really like I'm not really like a good judge of like how well written a book is, but I really like the stories behind them and like the lessons that I can learn from the people. And so I really liked the way that it was written though. I thought it was really descriptive and just like beautifully written when she talks about like the mountains and things like that and the different things that she's seeing. It was really well written in that way. But then also just like the themes of it, I thought that they were really interesting. It just like gives a different worldview, especially. So like I guess another thing that the book was about was her dad believed in like Y2K and stuff like that, and so they were like doing all of this preparation work for Y2K, and then like it came and it happened and there was like no end of the world. And so that was really interesting too, like seeing how these people, like there are people who really do like think these things are going to happen and prepare for these things, and then it doesn't happen, and kind of like what they expect from that, or like what they experience through that process. So that was really interesting too. Yeah, so just like seeing the different worldview, seeing how like the trauma affected her, and I feel like you don't really see a lot of like sibling abuse too, so that was really interesting to see, like, oh, like it was awful. Yeah, it was just awful to see that. And how that affected her too, and kind of like I said before, like how it affected the different members in her family, and how like each member of her family, or how like few others in her family also like got themselves out of the situation that they were in and were able to like overcome it and like become something of themselves too. So yeah, that was my little synopsis and review of this book. I really enjoyed reading it. It took me probably like a week or something to read it, so not so super long. I know some of my friends, they like read it in like 2 sittings or something like that too. So it was a really good book. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I hope that you found it interesting. Let me know if this is something that you'd like me to continue doing. I'm gonna try and do it, and then also like review books that will also relate to motherhood, because I'm trying to I do read some of those books from time to time, just like help out myself, especially with my faith life and things like that. Let me know if you guys like this type of content. I really enjoyed doing it, so please give our video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you're new, and we will see you next time.